Chapter 4556. Huamin looked at Suyu for a while before replying calmly, "Then if I tell you that I'm a beautiful girl from Pandora, Huamin, would you believe me?" Suyu was speechless. "You can't stop taking your medicine." After saying those words, Huamin turned around and left. Suyu almost laughed out loud. This wretched girl is still the same as back then. Even her lines are so similar. "You can't stop taking your medicine." What a mocking sentence. However, how could Suyu be angry? He didn't even have time to coax that ancestor. Although Suyu found the parallel world unbelievable, if he thought about it carefully, perhaps this was the only way to explain it. If it was just a simple transmigration, it was impossible for Chinchu to not exist. Could it be that there really is a parallel world in this world? Suyu searched for information about parallel worlds online for a long time. He only put down his phone when his eyes were tired. At that moment he suddenly had an idea. He took out his phone, opened WeChat and posted on his WeChat. He was a lazy person. Moreover, men were not as emotional as women. They would post whatever they thought. Therefore, Suyu's WeChat was relatively clean. He opened it and took a look. The last time he posted on his WeChat. It was 3 months ago at a public event at Imperial Star. He posted a link. Suyu opened his WeChat and slowly wrote, "In a parallel world there might be another you. He is doing things that you don't dare to do and living the life that you have always wanted." In less than a minute he had already received countless likes. Suyu didn't even know who some of the likes were. "Tang Chuan, Lord Su, you've become pretentious but I still love you so much." Suyu replied to Tang Chuan, "Get lost, you pervert." Wei Liao, "A car accident created a philosopher." Suyu replied to Wei Liao, "Keep mocking me. Just you wait." Zhao Qingyao, "What's wrong, Mr. Su? In a bad mood?" Jian Tong, "No matter how many parallel worlds there are, no matter how many of you there are, you will always be the king." Lady Su, "Son, tell me what you want to eat tonight." Suyu glanced at them and was too lazy to reply to them. As he lay in bed he once again thought of a serious problem. If this was a parallel world there should be another Suyu. Then, where did this world Suyu go? After all, he was an outsider. Could it be that the Suyu here had died in the car accident? And he had switched souls, and stayed here? The more he thought about it, the more his brain burned. Thus, he decided not to think about it anymore. Suyu covered his head and prepared to rest. At this moment they heard a commotion at the door. "Miss Xiao, the boss is already resting." "Don't lie to me. The boss just posted it on his WeChat moments." "You stinky bodyguard, don't be so ungrateful, okay? I'm the boss's sweetheart." Obviously, Zhao Qingyao, that brainless girl, had an argument with an at the door. Then she barged in without a care. "And let her in," Suyu shouted. And pursed his lips. Zhao Qingyao became even more arrogant. "Did you see that? President Su already said to let me in. Just wait for your bonus to be deducted, country bumpkin." Zhao Qingyao was currently very popular. Other than Suyu, she didn't care about anyone else. Even her best friends said that she was the woman most likely to marry into the Su family. Therefore she was momentarily overjoyed. He didn't know if Zhao Qingyao did it on purpose or not. She came in the middle of the night wearing only a silk dress. It was nude pink. Her long hair fell over her shoulders and she wore Korean-style eye makeup. She even sprayed a classic Burberry perfume. She was still carrying a Hermes bag but the style had changed. "President Su." The moment she spoke, her voice gave people goosebumps. Chapter 4557. Suyu, on the other hand, looked calm. He leaned against the bed, still playing with his phone. "President Su, I miss you. I can't sleep." "Didn't I tell you not to come?" Suyu said calmly. His eyes were still on his phone as if he was playing a game of Candy Crush. "But I really miss you. You've been living here for so long. I haven't seen you in a long time." There were only the two of them here, so Suyu knew what Zhao Qingyao wanted to say. "Stop." Suyu looked up. "President Su." Zhao Qingyao pouted and began to act coquettishly. "Zhao Qingyao, let me ask you. Do you want to continue being a celebrity?" "Of course. I do." Zhao Qingyao was stunned by Suyu's sudden question. Suyu really wanted to find someone to tie this woman up and feed her to the sharks. After all, Zhao Qingyao had done so many evil things. Whether it was in a dream or in reality, Suyu didn't have a good impression of this woman at all. However, Suyu controlled himself and told himself that this was a parallel world. Zhao Qingyao didn't know Huamin yet, so she hadn't done anything to hurt Huamin. If you want to stay at Imperial Star and continue being popular, and continue to make money, from now on, stay away from me. Most importantly, don't be a bitch. President Su. Zhao Qingyao was stunned. What was wrong with Suyu? He wasn't like this before. Don't ask why. I'm not in the mood to explain so much to you. Anyway, from now on you're an artist under my company. Other than that, we have nothing to do with each other. You're not allowed to use me to create hype or else I'll cut you off. When Suyu said cut her off, he meant freezing her. For celebrities, the scariest thing was to be frozen and banned. Hearing Suyu's words, Zhao Qingyao was surprised, angry, and wronged. However, on the surface she didn't dare to disobey Suyu. I understand, President Su. Her voice was as soft as a mosquito's. It was obvious that she felt wronged. She thought that she could keep Suyu interested in her for a while with her ability, but he got sick of her after just a few days. Could it be that the rumors were true? Did President Su's interest in that bitch, Jian Tong? Zhao Qingyao's words, Suyu's words. I'm warning you, don't do anything that's out of line. Whether it's with the other artists in the company or something else, your path to stardom is pretty good right now. If you cause a scandal, I won't let you off. Yes, President Su. I'll remember it. Okay, you can leave. Don't come here again. You can talk to the vice president about work matters. There's no need to meet alone in the future. Su used the president, the other hand Zhao Qingyao. The other hand, the Su were the other as Hua. S were they Huak Su see the Su people who Su's the other of, had finally dealt with a troublemaker. He looked at his watch and saw that it was already 11:30 p.m. Suyu wasn't sleepy at all. He searched for Huamin's WeChat. He tried to add Huamin with his previous number, but it wasn't his. Only then did he realize that Huamin's WeChat wasn't his phone number. Suyu tried to add Huamin with his WeChat and it was still the same number. Huamin's profile picture was the same as before. It was a picture of him on campus. Suyu added Huamin and the note read, I'm your husband. Add me. 3 minutes later, Suyu received a rejection notification from Huamin. Chapter 45-58. Other than rejecting him, Huamin also added, I'm your mother. Husband. Mother. That's a good match. Suyu couldn't help but chuckle. He thought about how Suyu was like this in the past. Because they met at Southside, he was deeply in love. In the beginning, he had investigated Huamion's background. Later he had challenged Qinchu. Now that he thought about it, it was extremely childish back then. Because from the beginning, Suyu had already lost the moment he challenged Qinchu. He could work hard to be more powerful than Qinchu, richer than Qinchu, have more material things than Qinchu, and love Huamin more than Qinchu. However, he neglected the most important thing at the time. And that was that love was mutual. In this world, there had never been a pair of true lovers who were both in love. Suyu was passionately in love back then, so no matter what he did, it was all wishful thinking. To Huamin, no matter how rich Suyu was, no matter how much power he had, and no matter how much he loved her, it was all useless because she didn't love him. To Huamin, even if Qinchu wasn't the president of GK, wasn't the only son of the Qin family, and didn't have a 360-degree face that could topple the world, Huamin would still love him. Because he was Qinchu, the only man Huamin had ever loved in her life. Suyu once thought that if he were to transmigrate, he would have to transmigrate back to when he was young, preferably when he was in kindergarten. Only then would he be able to know Huamin longer than Qinchu. Therefore, when Suyu thought that he had transmigrated back to the past, he was quite upset. Because as long as Qinchu was around, he would always be the one who lost miserably. Even during those 4 years when Qinchu was recuperating in the United States and disappearing. Suyu took care of Huamin and her mother meticulously for nearly 4 years. However, it couldn't compare to Qinchu's I'm back. Therefore, after experiencing all this, Suyu already knew his limits. However, he never thought that he could transmigrate to a parallel world. A parallel world where there was no Qinchu, only Huamin. Suyu's heart was filled with excitement and ecstasy. He even felt that he had sacrificed so much in exchange for this incomparably precious opportunity. If it's not a dream, if it's real, then he would die here, his friends, his family, just like before. The only one missing was Huamion's beloved Qinchu. Suyu slowly pulled her thoughts back to reality. He added Huamin add me. I don't have a grandson as old as you. Thank you. Huamin rejected him again. Suyu knew that with Huamin's personality, she wouldn't add someone she wasn't familiar with just a few words. At least for the current Huamin, she still didn't know Suyu. Therefore, Suyu didn't want to be impatient and scare her or pressure her, because he had a lot of time. He had a lifetime to chase after her and make her fall in love with him. In the other world, Suyu wanted to ask Huamin more than once. If there was no Chinchu, if I appeared first, would you fall in love with me? However, Huamin didn't answer because the hypothetical question itself didn't hold water. Now, in this parallel world, everything had really happened. Suyu had to use his entire life to prove. Without Chinchu, would Huamin still fall in love with him? Early morning. As Suyu was in a good mood, he woke up early. Then, his mother brought the maid to deliver a sumptuous breakfast. Mom. Yes. You don't have to come over tomorrow. Don't bring me food anymore. What? Lady Su was slightly startled. I want to eat in the hospital. Isn't the food in the hospital bad? Lady Su remembered that her son had complained before that the food in the hospital was like pig's food. It's not good. That's right. Isn't that a good way to lose weight? Suyu smiled. Lady Su couldn't help but laugh. Child, why do you need to lose weight? Health is the most important thing. At this moment, Huamin came in with a tray. Suyu, it's time for the infusion. Chapter 45-59. I'll be right there. Suyu immediately put down the meat bun in his mouth and took the initiative to extend an arm for Huamin to inject. Lady Su was so surprised that her jaw almost dropped. I'm having an injection. It's not good to have too many people in the room. It's too messy. Go out and wait for me. Suyu blinked and sent his mother and away. Before she left, Lady Su did not forget to take another look at the nurse. She felt that she was really average looking. At the door of the ward. And yes, madam. Has young master been acting strangely these 2 days? Yes, a little. Tell me about it. Lady Su held a white dye fey bag and sat demurely on a bench in the hospital corridor. And scratched his head. How should I put it? Anyway, young master has been suspicious recently. Something is indeed wrong. Maybe it's because he's bored lying in the hospital. Do you know the girl who gave young master the injection? Miss Hu. She's been giving young master injections recently. She's just a caretaker. And nodded. I guess so. She was handpicked by young master. Handpicked? When did this happen? After young master woke up. Did young master say anything about how he treats Miss Hu differently? After all, Lady Su was Suyu's mother, so she knew her son well. Although her son was used to fooling around, she could still tell who he was interested in. After all, Suyu was an impatient person and could not hide things in his heart. It's different. Maybe he interacts more with her. Sometimes when Miss Hu comes to inject young master will deliberately tease her. What's Miss Hu's background? Lady Su continued to ask. And hesitated for a moment. He didn't know if he should tell her. Tell me what you know. Don't hide anything from me. Yes, madam. Miss Hu's background is very simple. She has a younger brother and they live in the slums of the east side. Their living conditions are not very good, but I heard that Miss Hu is a straight A student. She didn't pay any tuition fees since junior high, and she received scholarships every year. She graduated from the local medical university. However, because she doesn't have any connections and didn't get in through the back door, she's still a nurse. What an amazing woman. Right, I got it. You still have to take care of the young master's matters. Don't worry, madam. I will protect young master well. Shaowen was an honest man. He had followed Suyu for a long time and Lady Su liked him very much. Inside the ward, Miss Nurse. You're so educated. Why are you only a nurse? I think you're qualified to be a doctor. While Suyu flattered him, Huamin lowered his head and carefully organized the equipment. I don't have any connections or money. It's good enough to be a nurse. Isn't it good to have insurance until retirement? But I think if you become a doctor, you'll benefit the country and the people. Suyu continued flattering him. Huamin raised his head and looked at Suyu. You sure know how to talk. To be honest, if you want to be a doctor, I can help. No need. Before Suyu could finish his sentence, Huamin directly rejected him. That's not the salary of a doctor. Your income will be many times higher. I heard that you majored in obstetrics and gynecology in university. Don't you want to be an outstanding obstetrician? Upon hearing Suyu's words, Huamin's eyes flashed. He was obviously tempted, but, according to what you said, what I need is money. It's so complicated for me to work so hard to be a doctor. I might as well find a rich man and marry him. It'll be more practical, Huamin teased. Hey. Then marry me. I'll definitely be a rich man. Suyu took advantage of the situation. Chapter 4560. I can tell, but it's not old-fashioned enough. Move aside. After being scolded again, Suyu wasn't discouraged because he was already mentally prepared. Hey Huamin. What? Has anyone told you that your eyelashes are beautiful? Suyu looked at Huamin's face with a serious expression. After hearing this, Huamin reached out to touch his forehead. Stop fooling around. My eyelashes are so short that I can't even see them in the mirror. It's because they're so short that they're special. I'm tired of looking at the thick eyelashes of those flirtatious bitches outside. I like short ones. Huamin. Suyu had a feeling that the conversation was going to die as they talked. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He carried the tray and walked out. Miss Nurse, please wait. What are you doing now? Huamin was so angry that he was almost speechless. The person staying in this VIP ward was simply a weirdo. My mom won't send me food starting this afternoon. Can you help me order some food from the hospital's cafeteria? I just want you to pack one for me after you finish your lunch. Is that okay? The food in the cafeteria is delicious. It's okay. I like bad food. Huamin, the food in the cafeteria isn't cheap. I can't use my meal card. Huamin got straight to the point. I asked my assistant to add 100,000 yuan to your meal card. Is that enough? Huamin, fuck. Of course, this foul language was said very softly. What's wrong? Not enough. Suyu asked deliberately. Brother, this money is enough to eat until the day our hospital goes bankrupt. If you have 100,000 yuan, why do you still eat in the hospital's cafeteria? The best private restaurant in the city, Li Ji, delivers food every day. It doesn't cost 100,000 yuan. Huamian felt that there was something wrong with the young master of the Su family. Something was seriously wrong with him. But I don't like to eat Li Ji's private home cuisine. All right, up to you. Huamin didn't want to continue talking to this crazy tycoon. He would go crazy. Huamin came from an ordinary family. It wasn't easy for Uncle Jing to earn money. 2 years ago, her mother fell ill and was hospitalized for a major operation. The family was already in debt. Uncle Jing had no choice but to go to Africa for labor and hadn't returned for 2 years. However, this crown prince could easily top up 100,000 yuan in the hospital's meal card. What kind of existence was this? After Huamin left, Suyu was in a good mood. At noon, Huamin came to deliver food. He was quite honest. Seeing that prince had a lot of money, she ordered 8 dishes and 1 soup. The whole ward was filled with pig trotters. When Suyu saw these dishes, he was also dumbfounded. Soy sauce pig trotters, steamed pork shoulder, red braised pork, black fish stewed with tofu, iron pot veal, fried chicken thigh, green pepper fried meat, lion head. Doesn't the patient need to eat something light? It's so greasy. Is it okay? Suyu didn't expect Huamin to be so honest. The 8 dishes were all meat. He was full just by looking at them, let alone eating. You injured your leg, not your spleen and stomach. It's okay. I'll try to help you spend the 100,000 yuan as soon as possible. Suyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Come and eat with me. No, why? I think you're dirty, Suyu. Look at you. You haven't washed your face or shaved for days. You're so ugly and unhygienic, Suyu. Let's go. Eat slowly. Tell me if it's not enough. I'll get more. No, it's enough, my dear. After Huamin left, Suyu called in, who was at the door. Boss, what can I do for you? Take these and go out with the bodyguards at the door. Eat them all. What about you? And touched his head. Chapter 4561. I just took a look at these dishes and I'm full, Suyu said. Ha. Boss, you're so funny. Don't laugh. Get out. Suyu sent in away with all the greasy dishes. Only then did his stomach feel better. His leg was fine. In fact, the doctor had already said that he could be discharged. It was Suyu who refused to leave. He was flirting with the girl he loved every day. He was speechless. In the evening, an uninvited guest came to the hospital. He was an uninvited guest because Suyu's heart turned cold the moment he saw him. Huasiqian still liked to wear pink. Logically speaking, such a feminine color shouldn't look good on a man. However, this man was able to hold himself back. Huasiqian had short brown hair and was wearing white casual pants and a light pink suit. He was also holding a fruit basket in his hand. It was a strange sight. He had a smile on his face as he walked down the corridor. The nurses couldn't help but scream when they saw him. Huamin was playing with his phone at the on-call desk. His head was lowered and he didn't see him. It was Huasiqian who took an apple from the fruit basket. He placed it beside Huamin's hand. "Sister Mion, I'll treat you to an apple." Huamin looked up and saw that it was Huasiqian. His face darkened. "Take it away. I don't want it. Eat it. Eating more fruit is good for your skin." With that, Huasiqian left before Huamin could say anything. He carried the fruit into Su Yu's room. When Su Yu saw him, his expression was extremely complicated. This was because Su Yu wasn't the original Su Yu in the parallel world. He was the Su Yu who had transmigrated from another world. Therefore he carried all the memories of the other world. As for Huasiqian, he was once the common enemy of Su Yu and Qin Chu. This big pervert had once abducted Huamin to live on a deserted island for many days. During that time, Su Yu and Qin Chu almost went crazy. Su Yu was only pleasantly surprised that Qin Chu was not in this world, but he had neglected the existence of Huasiqian, a big trouble. One had to know that his obsession and love for Huamin was no less than Su Yu and Qin Chu. It was just that his method was too perverted. "What are you doing here?" Seeing Huasiqian, Su Yu felt very unhappy. "What are you talking about? As a partner of Imperial Star, I'm here to see President Su. No need." "Brother Su, you're being very cold to me. What's going on? Is it because a small artist under your company has jumped ship to the Hua Corporation?" After being ignored by Su Yu, Huasiqian was confused. After all, they had been drinking together a while ago. He didn't have a good relationship with Su Yu, but they weren't enemies either. Only then did Su Yu adjust his emotions. He couldn't make it too obvious in case he exposed himself. "Look at you, a big man wearing colorful clothes like a peacock. Aren't you embarrassed?" Su Yu lectured him. Huasiqian lowered his head and glanced at his suit. "I've been wearing this since I was 18. There's nothing wrong with it, buddy. You came to see a patient with this crappy fruit basket? Aren't you embarrassed? You're the vice president of the Hua Corporation. Then what do you want?" Huasiqian laughed. "Aren't you going to send me a red packet?" Su Yu waved his phone. "Is this considered extortion?" Huasiqian laughed. "No, I'm clearly asking you for it. Okay, then I'll send you 888 yuan to shut you up." Huasiqian helplessly took out his phone. "Transfer 2 more 8s or I'll look down on you, Huasiqian." Sure enough, Su Yu had more face. In the end, Huasiqian transferred 5 8s. Then he didn't forget to say, "Hurry up and take a screenshot and post it on your WeChat moments. Let everyone see how good I am to you." Su Yu ignored him and replied, "Huasiqian, I don't have a problem with business cooperation, and I don't have a problem with you calling me brother, but, let me tell you, don't touch Huamin or I'll kill you." Chapter 4562. Huasiqian looked at Su Yu and smiled. "Huamin, you've fallen for her. Stop fooling around." "I'm not fooling around. I'm telling the truth. You better listen to me clearly." Su Yu finally came to a parallel world without Qin Chu, and he didn't want to lose to Huasiqian. Then Huasiqian burst out laughing. "What are you laughing at?" Su Yu was quite displeased. Huasiqian lowered his head and his laughter was incomparably pleasant. "Su Yu, are you crazy? I, Huasiqian, can have any woman I want. I wouldn't be so desperate as to commit incest with my sister, right?" "She's not your biological sister," Su Yu replied. "Isn't having the same father a biological sister? Did you hit your head?" Huasiqian was speechless. "Weren't you adopted? When did you get married?" Su Yu was in a hurry and told him that Huasiqian was adopted, but after that he blamed himself. Even a cripple couldn't tell the truth. This was unintentionally a shortcoming for Huasiqian. To his surprise, Huasiqian wasn't angry. Instead, he laughed out loud. "I think this car accident really hurt you. Even if you're the president of an entertainment company, you can't casually spread rumors. Huamin's mother is my father's ex-girlfriend, and they broke up and gave birth to her. There's nothing wrong with that. My grandfather married my mother to Huamin in order to unite with the Hua Corporation and give birth to me. There's nothing wrong with that either. Huamin and I have the same last name and the same father. So, don't worry, even if all the women in the world died, I wouldn't have any improper thoughts about my sister." After Hua Xiqian said this, Suyu was stunned. Then, what about Xinjiani? Where's Hua Yanyan and Hua Si? Fu asked. Who? Hua Xiqian didn't seem to have heard him clearly. Xinjiani, Hua Yanyan and Hua Si, Suyu repeated. I've never heard of these people before. Suyu, are you dreaming? Suyu, fine, I won't talk to you anymore. I came to see you out of the kindness of my heart. Not only did you blackmail me, you even slandered me. You're not suitable to be a boss, you're more suited to be a paparazzi hot. Alright, I've taken a liking to one of the female artists your company signed. If you don't want to do it, I'll do it. Hua Xiqian waved his hand and stood up to leave. Before he left, he even made a teasing remark. Suyu didn't know what was going on. Suyu quickly called an in. Boss, what's the matter? Whose son is Hua Xiqian? Suyu asked out of the blue. The old chairman of the Hua Corporation. Hua Jinghai. Isn't he adopted? Suyu raised his head and looked at An with a sharp gaze. Boss, where did you hear this from? Young Master Hua is the son of the Hua family. There are also rumors that Miss Hua is also Hua Jinghai's daughter, but it hasn't been confirmed. All these years, Miss Hua and her mother haven't had any contact with the Hua family. Other than that, does Hua Jinghai have any other children or wives? No, I don't know if he's a mistress, but young Master Hua is his only son. Suyu had a lot on his mind. Boss, did you hear some gossip from someone? Is it accurate? The Hua family is a prestigious family, we can't talk nonsense. Be careful not to get sued. And reminded Suyu in a low voice. Suyu's mind was in a mess. He sorted out the sources of the information. In other words, in this world, Hua Min and Hua Xiqian were half-siblings, and Hua Yanyan and Hua Si didn't exist at all. This is really good news. You look very handsome today. Chapter 45-63. And coughed awkwardly and said, Boss, although you've been good to me for the past few years, I still have something to say to you. Go ahead. Holding his cell phone, Suyu lowered his head and played with it while listening to an I don't like men, and said, Yeah, me. Then just now, damn. Are you thinking too much? I said you were handsome today, so it means I have feelings for you. Why don't you look at yourself? Suyu almost jumped up and blew En's head off. What was this guy thinking? How could he think that he was interested in him? I misunderstood. It's good that you're not. Hearing that he had misunderstood, and immediately grinned, revealing his 8 teeth. You're so stupid. Everyone says Lu Yen doesn't like you. Lu Yen? Who's Lu Yen? So you suddenly realized that he had let the cat out of the bag. He wasn't sure if Lu Yen existed in this world. From the looks of it, Mian might really be Hua Jinghai's biological daughter. In other words, there was no conspiracy in Dongtao Town. Without Professor Lu there would be no Lu Yen and Xiao Fei. Without Qin Chu there would be no Rick and Qin Ning. Then what about Tang Chuan's wife? Although he had discovered the benefits of this world, he gradually realized that he had lost many people. What made Suyu feel the most conflicted was, without Qin Chu, Hua Min wouldn't have married Qin Chu. This was a good thing. However, without Qin Chu there would be no twins in the future. Suyu's heart ached at the thought of the 2 innocent and cute children. The appearance of Little Bean and Pudding had made his life much happier. In the beginning, when the little ones were born, he did his best to treat the children well because of his love for them. He wanted Hua Min to be touched and the children to like him. But later on, after taking care of her for so long, she really treated her as her own. Suyu could guarantee that his love for the twins was no less than Qin Chu's. However, there would no longer be twins in this world. Boss, your mood has been changing a lot recently. One moment you're happy, the next you're sad. What's wrong? Just treat it as if I'm on my period, Z said, and was speechless. I've only heard of women having menstruation, but I've never heard of men having menstruation. Cut the crap. Get out, I'm going to sleep. The next morning Suyu's leg had almost recovered. When the attending doctor came to visit in the morning, he specifically told Suyu that he could get out of bed and walk slowly to exercise. He did not see Hua Min today because he did not need an 4-drip. Suyu's heart was restless. He was not in the mood to eat. With Anne's help, she walked slowly in the corridor and then went to the back garden of the hospital. However, she saw Hua Min talking and laughing with an unfamiliar man. Suyu desperately searched through his memories. He realized that the kid was actually a soldier introduced to Hua Min by the old man in the ward next door. Instantly he was filled with anger. And go back and bring me my phone. Suyu took the opportunity to send an away. Hey boss, thank you here. Don't wander around. After and left, Suyu limped over. When he walked nearby, he heard the kid talking to Huamin. I heard that you broke up with your ex-boyfriend a long time ago. Have you considered starting a new relationship? I'm in the army, so I can apply for my wife to follow the army and live in the family building. However, your job might have to change. We also have a military hospital there. I can find some connections and arrange for you to go in. What do you think? Before Huamin could reply, Suyu rushed up. Chapter 45-64. You keep talking about connections. As a former soldier, I feel embarrassed for you. Does your family own the army? You can transfer anyone you want. The blind date looked at Suyu in confusion. May I ask, who are you? My surname is Su. My name is Yu. Suyu was a little anxious and angry, so he introduced himself like a gangster. You're Suyu? The man must have heard of this name before, so he wasn't surprised. After all, the Su family was second only to one person in the military. Yu, are you crazy? What are you doing here? Huamin was very embarrassed. He glanced at the patient he didn't know well. You're the one who's crazy. You have a boyfriend. Don't you think it's shameful for you to go on a blind date? When did I? Huamin was about to say something. Suyu interrupted him again. You're just arguing with me. Isn't it normal for couples to argue? You can't go on a blind date just to piss me off. Forget about the blind date. Can't you find someone better? You even like a company commander. Is there something wrong with your eyes? Do you need me to get you a pair of glasses? See, you bastard. Huamin was about to go crazy. That guy understood what was going on when he heard this. Then he turned to look at Huamin. Miss Hua, so you have a boyfriend. Then you shouldn't have gone on a blind date with me. You shouldn't have lied to my third grandpa. He told me that you're single. I'm single, Huamin wanted to explain, but Suyu interrupted him again. Mion, stop fooling around, okay? I'll go home and kneel on a durian. Don't make me angry. You know how much I love you. We can't lose face in front of outsiders. If you have something to say, let's go home and talk behind closed doors. Motherfucker. Who's talking behind closed doors? Suyu, you must be out of your mind. Huamin, a genius with a sharp tongue, was disrupted by Suyu at this moment. He wanted to explain, but he couldn't. Obviously, his blind date was a little angry. Since that's the case, I won't disturb the two of you any further. Take your time. The blind date knew her place and left. Hey, listen to me, it's not like that. Huamin still wanted to say something and wanted to chase after her, but Suyu grabbed his arm. Mion, don't leave. Sleep your ass. Huamin turned around and shoved her hard, probably because he was angry. Suyu immediately fell to the ground. His legs were already inconvenient to begin with. Now the fall was even more unsightly. The moment he landed, Suyu deliberately shouted, "Ouch, it hurts. It's over. My legs are really going to break." Huamin was about to leave when he saw Suyu screaming. He couldn't bear it. Are you okay? Are you dead? If you don't help me up, I'll die. Huamin was furious, but he couldn't bear to leave Suyu here. Therefore he went forward and used his weak body to help him up. This was the first time Suyu was so close to Huamin since he transmigrated to the parallel world. When their bodies touched, he could even smell the unique fragrance on her body. Suyu suppressed the passionate love he had for Huamin deep in his heart. He looked abstinent, afraid that he would be too impatient and scare her. Why do you look like you have a deep grudge? If you don't want me to help you, you can walk on your own. Huamin raised his head and looked at Suyu, who was so close to him. Oh no, I'm willing. Sorry to trouble you, chief nurse. Suyu smiled fawningly. Chapter 45-65. I'm repaying evil with good. You ruined my blind date just now. I shouldn't have cared about you and left you to fend for yourself. Huamin said angrily. You should thank me. That guy doesn't look like a good person. If you get together with him and he abuses you, you'll be pitiful. How do you know he's abusing you? Do you know him? I know how to read people's faces. Really, he's not the right person for you, Suyu said in all seriousness. Huamin was so angry that she laughed. Suyu, don't try to play tricks on me. Reading people's faces. If you really know how to read people's faces, why didn't you help yourself? Why did you get yourself into a car accident? Do you think I'm a 3-year-old who's listening to you? Plus, if he's not the right person for me, who is? All the girls at Southside want to find a good boyfriend. Why can't I? Then you can find someone better than him. It's so hard for you to be with a little company commander. I know my place. A company commander is good, and I'm not some socialite's daughter. That's enough for me. If you don't hold your head high, how are you going to make your ex regret? I heard that Ning Ziyuan is going to marry a nurse. That nurse is the mistress who came between you two, right? You investigated me? Huamin stopped in her tracks angrily and glared at Su Yu. Of course not. I heard the nurses at your hospital gossiping. You know that the first hospital in Southside are chain hospitals, so you know what's going on there. I heard it by accident, don't misunderstand me. No matter what Ning Ziyuan does, it's all in the past. What does it have to do with me? Even if he marries the mayor's daughter, it's none of my business. Huamin was still the same as before, as if she was from another world. She looked like a pretentious prick, calm and collected. She always looked like it had nothing to do with her. So you almost hugged her just now. This Huamin was so familiar. This was the Huamin he had loved for so many years. Then you can find a better boyfriend to piss him off. I can't find one. I'm not that good. I can introduce you. Su Yu smiled. Oh, thank you. What do you think of me? Su Yu volunteered to ask her. To be honest? Yes, to be honest. You're really nothing much. Bad temper, picky food, blabber a lot. You look like a sissy. Most importantly, you have too many women, like a stud horse. Although Huamin didn't like to gossip, he had heard a lot about this man's romantic history in the past few days in Southside. When Su Yu was in a coma in the hospital, there were at least 80 women who came to visit, if not 100. Famous actresses, female hosts, models, socialites, and even the daughters of the fourth-generation officials were all here. Therefore, Huamin felt that he couldn't afford to offend a big shot like Su Yu. Moreover, he didn't have a high opinion of him. He didn't like men who had too many women. He was a playboy by nature. Ahem. What you see isn't me, that's just on the surface. You have to understand the real me deep down. I'm the most affectionate man in the world. Su Yu promised Huamin with a serious expression. Ah, don't talk nonsense. I'm still the most beautiful woman in the world, Huamin teased. In my heart you are. Su Yu blurted out. At that moment, Huamin was slightly stunned. She realized that when Su Yu looked at her, there was something wrong with his gaze. It didn't seem like he was flirting with her. Chapter 4566. Huamin had always been a girl with a high EQ and IQ. She vaguely felt that the way this man looked at her was a little strange. The reason why it was strange was because she saw deep love in this man's eyes. But how long had this man known her? She had been hospitalized for less than 10 days. How deep could he be? Huamin never believed in love at first sight. She once joked with Zhu Lingling that love at first sight wasn't about feelings, it was about looks. As long as you were good-looking, most men would fall in love at first sight. In Huamin's heart, she believed that love would grow with time. Unfortunately, the person who could make her fall in love with time didn't appear. From middle school to high school, she had been pursued by many boys, but she was rejected by all of them. Huamin wasn't a beauty at first sight. She was just delicate and pretty. But once you got to know her, you might be attracted to her personality and personal charm. A top student like her was like a god in the eyes of many bad boys. Unfortunately, those men weren't Huamin's type. After she went to university, Ning Ziyuan pursued her for 3 whole years. For 3 years he helped her fetch water, get food and clean the classroom. Huamin didn't care about Ning Ziyuan's rural background and poor family background. She thought that he was quite reliable. But men were always like this. They looked at what was in the pot and ate what was in the basin. After graduating and working for less than half a year, Ning Ziyuan had an affair with a young nurse. Huamin was glad that she didn't have any physical intimacy with him. In the end they broke up. Although he pestered her a few times, Huamin rejected him. She always thought that she was an outstanding person, but in the world of love she always seemed to lack something. In the past she hated blind dates. Later, when she came to Southside, many patients took the initiative to introduce her. Over time, Huamin silently accepted them. But Su Yu's appearance was like a sudden clap of thunder that disturbed her originally peaceful first half of her life. Su Yu, what is your goal? She asked him. What purpose could I have for asking such a question? You didn't come to Southside to get close to me, did you? No. Suyu shook his head. There are so many hospitals in the city, why did you come to Southside? I heard that your hospital has good facilities, a good environment and a lot of girls. Huamin, stop fooling around. I came to Southside because of the first-rate equipment and first-rate doctors. Then why do you seem to be targeting me? Huamin was not stupid. She had a feeling that Suyu was up to something when he asked her to perform acupuncture and accepted it too frequently. How am I targeting you? I clearly like you, I don't believe you. What are you plotting? Miss Huamin Mian, what do you think I want from you? Tell me, what do you have? Huamin remained silent. She indeed had nothing compared to Suyu, who had a prominent background. Huamin's background was nothing. Did he ask you to come to me? Huamin lowered her head. Her eyelashes looked beautiful from this angle. Who is he? Suyu was confused. Huasiqian. He's been trying to contact me, but my mom and I won't forgive him. He's the modern version of Qin Shimi, a scumbag. Huamin commented on her biological father. Yes, in the parallel world Suyu had investigated thoroughly. Huamin was Hu Jinghai's biological father. Therefore there was no Professor or Lu Yen here. It's not him. I don't care about that old man. Suyu smiled slightly. Chapter 4567. Forget it, I'm not going to talk nonsense with you. Go back to the ward and rest. Huamin decided not to continue talking nonsense with Suyu. He felt that he was a glib talker who never spoke the truth. With Huamin's help, Suyu walked faster than before, and originally ran back with the phone to give it to his boss. Then he saw from afar that his boss was being supported by Huamin. He immediately knew his place. He immediately found a place to hide. After Huamin helped Suyu back to the room and left, he jumped out. Boss, you're flirting with the nurse again. What do you mean again? You make it sound like I've been flirting with her all the time. Suyu rolled his eyes at boss' phone and obediently handed over the phone. Suyu took it and immediately opened it to look at WeChat. Huamin still didn't add him. Boss, yes? Are you interested in that nurse? You can even tell, Suyu replied absent-mindedly as he played with his phone. The entire hospital can tell. It's so obvious. And pouted. Is there a problem? Suyu looked up at and forgive me for being blunt, but that nurse isn't very good looking. She doesn't seem to be your type. What did I like before? Suyu asked in amusement, and rested his chin on his hand and thought for a moment before saying, you used to like women who are good-looking, have big butts, big breasts, have long hair, big eyes, can act coquettishly, can coax people, can dance and can sing. Was I that blind in the past? Anyway, I won't like women like that anymore, Suyu promised seriously. Then Miss Xiao, Miss Jian and the others, none of them are my type. So boss, you're interested in the nurse and want to woo her? How many months do you plan to keep her fresh this time? And felt that it might be because the boss had never been in contact with the nurse industry and found it novel. That young nurse also always dissed the boss. That was why he was so interested. But according to the boss's bad temper, he would probably get sick of it in a few months. At that time he would have to change again. Unexpectedly this time Suyu said, this time I plan to stay fresh for the rest of my life. No way. Don't tell me you're going to get married? And was puzzled. No. I'm going to have a baby. And almost vomited blood when he heard this. Give birth to children? This was a topic that the boss didn't want to talk about before, because everyone knew that Suyu didn't like children. When he saw other people's children he didn't find them cute. He didn't even have the interest to tease them. Lady Su had once said that she wanted Suyu to get married and have children as soon as possible. At that time, Suyu said that he did not believe in marriage and would not have any children. He hated those naughty people. Now he took the initiative to say that he wanted to have a baby with the young nurse. Shaoan felt that his brain capacity was not enough. Boss, did someone cast a spell on you? I think we should find someone to take a look at you. Take a look. I'm fine. Alright, cut the crap. You can go out. I'm going to take a nap. Xi was in a good mood. After and left, he talked to Wei Liao and Tang Chuan in the group for a while before taking a good nap. At the on-call desk. Mian, why do I feel like young Master Su is interested in you? Another nurse looked at Huamin with envy. That's impossible. We all know what kind of person Suyu is. He's just teasing us because he's bored. We can't take it seriously. Mion, I think this is a good opportunity. If you have something to do with Suyu, you don't have to be a nurse anymore. Look at those female celebrities at Imperial Star. Which one of them isn't worth tens of millions? Chapter 4568. After hearing these sour words, Huamin smiled slightly. He's worth tens of millions, it's fate. I'm just a commoner, I don't want so much. Mion, this is an opportunity for you. No, I'm a person who knows my place. Young Master Su, a big shot with a halo is really not suitable for me. Huamin and her colleagues were just chatting, but they were speaking from the bottom of their hearts. Everyone loved money, but it also depended on what kind of money it was. Su Yu's family background was far inferior to Huamin's, not to mention that she was living with her stepfather and brother. So what if she returned to Hua Jinghai's side and was recognized as the daughter of the Hua family? Even if she was a socialite, she might not be happy if she married Su Yu. These rich second-generation heirs had been able to do whatever they wanted since they were young. To them, women were just accessories. It was probably faster than changing clothes. Huamin and Zhu Lingling were friends since they were young. Now that Lingling was a flight attendant, she could occasionally come into contact with the rich. A few of Lingling's colleagues married into good families. They weren't considered rich, but they were only worth tens of millions. What kind of life were they living after marriage? They were all people who lived by their mother-in-law and father-in-law's whims. If she didn't have money, it wouldn't be easy for her to marry into a rich family. When Huamin was an intern in the obstetrics and gynecology department at the first hospital, she had seen a rich young madam with her own eyes. When she gave birth, she wanted to perform a C-section because her belly was very big. It was obvious that the child wasn't small. However, her rich mother-in-law said that a normal birth was better for the child and didn't agree. She insisted on a normal birth, and didn't let the woman's husband sign the papers. In the end, the woman lost a lot of blood and both the mother and child died. Then the family came to the hospital to cause trouble and extorted 50 million yuan. What a jerk. After seeing through the fickleness of those rich people, Huamin didn't expect to find a rich husband. She only hoped to find someone who was nicer to her and her family. She wanted to live a peaceful life, so she didn't want to have anything to do with Su Yu. Su Yu's foot was almost healed and he was not far from being discharged. Once Su Yu was discharged from the hospital, he would probably forget about her and never come back. Huamin didn't want to be delusional. Therefore, in the face of everyone's jokes, he just laughed it off. Inside the ward, Su Yu was thinking about how to get in touch with Huamin more. But he didn't want to arouse her suspicion. After all, this little girl was too smart. They would be alerted to the slightest disturbance. Su Yu wouldn't tell her directly that he was another Su Yu from a parallel world and that in that world he loved her so much that he couldn't help himself. That's why I transmigrated here to start anew with you. Let alone Huamin, no one would believe such words, right? After thinking about it, Su Yu decided to hide everything first. Then he would catch up with Huamin first. Recalling that in the other world, Su Yu had a high fever and Huamin stayed with him for a while. Su Yu went to the bathroom to take a cold shower. When he came out, he was freezing. Not only that, he even took the opportunity to turn on the air conditioner. The cold wind was very strong. In an instant, a cold wind blew and Su Yu kept sneezing. Achoo achoo, boss, why are you turning on the air conditioner? What are you doing? When In came in, he saw Su Yu sitting on the bed with a blanket draped over his body. His hair was wet. He kept sneezing. I'm training my immune system. No way. You're courting death. If Madam sees this, she'll scold me to death. Don't do this, and was scared out of his wits when he saw his boss torturing him like this. Chapter 4569. It's fine. Madam won't be able to see it because I've already called my mother and told her not to come over for the next few days. I have to deal with work at the hospital. Smart. And suddenly felt that his boss's brain had become much sharper after the car accident. So what should we do now? And panicked when he saw how drenched his boss was. Go to Huamin and tell him that I have a fever. Miss Hua again. And shook his head helplessly. He didn't know what was wrong with his boss, but he fell for the nurse at Southside. Huamin had been on duty all night and was about to get off work when he packed up in the morning. And hurriedly ran over. Miss Hua. What's the matter? My boss has a fever. Go and take a look. I'm off work. But my boss has a fever. Then you can go to another doctor and a nurse who's on duty. Huamin was extremely calm. After all, Suyu was a man, so it wasn't a big deal for him to have a fever. Boss doesn't want anyone else to give him an injection. He said that their skills aren't good enough. He only wants Miss Hua to do it. It's fine. The fever isn't that bad. There's no need for an injection. He just needs to take some fever medicine. Huamin continued to pack his things. He took off his white coat, put on his coat and prepared to leave. My boss also said, if Miss Hua is willing to help him reduce his fever, he'll give you an extra 5,000 yuan for overtime. Of course, Suyu didn't say that. However, and felt that if he didn't say that, Miss Hua probably wouldn't go. As expected, Huamin stopped when he heard the 5,000 yuan for overtime. If that's the case, I'll go with you. After all, Suyu is my patient. It's not good to see him have a fever, right? And muttered behind Huamin. You make it sound nice, but isn't it all because of the 5,000 yuan for overtime? Although An had made the decision for the 5,000 yuan, he felt that his boss wouldn't blame him. With how obsessed his boss was with Miss Hua. Not only would his boss not blame him, but he would also reward him. In the end, Huamin arrived at Suyu's ward. However, she was wearing a casual outfit because it was almost time to get off work. Huamin's clothes weren't expensive, but each one of them was decent. At the very least, they suited her and were comfortable to look at. Do you have a fever? It's a little cold. Suyu was covered in a blanket. Check your temperature. Huamin took out a thermometer. Open your mouth, she said. Huamin put it in and ordered, shut up. Take it out in 5 minutes. Testis not too tigisti. With tigisti, he took off her coat and hung it on the hanger. She placed her bag beside the bed and walked straight to the bathroom. And took the opportunity to come up to him and whispered, I told you she'd only come if you gave her 5,000 yuan for overtime. Otherwise she would have already gotten off work. Well done. Suyu was elated. And looked at her and realized that he had made the right move. Suyu took out her phone and secretly transferred 10,000 yuan to and 5,000 yuan for me to give to Huamin later. That 5,000 yuan is your reward. Also, you can leave now. Come back when Huamin leaves. Don't be a third wheel here. And was speechless. It seemed like his boss was starting to dislike him. And walked out of the room with his phone. Huamin unscrewed the wet towel and glanced at Suyu. Lie down. Suyu obediently lay on the bed. Huamin placed the towel on his forehead. Dr. Hua, thank you. I'm not a doctor yet. I'm a nurse. You'll be a doctor sooner or later. No, you'll be the director sooner or later. Suyu smiled like a flower. Chapter 4570. Thank you for your kind words. When I become the director, I'll waive your bill if you come for treatment. What do you mean, Huamin? Why would I come for treatment? You jinx. Huamin laughed so hard that he couldn't straighten his back. Then he looked at Suyu. Not bad, your brain isn't fried yet. You're not stupid. I'm smart. Why would I be stupid? Suyu looked at Huamin with disdain. Huamin skillfully pulled the thermometer back from Suyu's mouth before it was about to fall off. Then she glanced at it. Wow, it's indeed amazing. It's already 38.5 degrees. What do you mean? Is that high? Suyu looked at her eagerly. Yeah, it's quite high. You have to take some fever medicine. Didn't they say that fever medicine hurts the kidneys? I don't want it. So, do you want to burn into a fool or are you worried about your kidneys? Huamin crossed his arms and looked at this guy helplessly. He knew that he had a lot of girlfriends and even more rumored girlfriends. How could he be worried about his kidneys when he had a fever? Then I'll burn into a fool. After all, my kidneys are very important and must be protected. Suyu's cheeky smile was obviously teasing Huamin. Stop talking nonsense, take the medicine. Otherwise I'll give you an injection. It'll stab your butt, do you want it? Huamin deliberately tried to scare him. No, I won't do it even if you beat me to death. So, injection or medicine, which one do you choose? Can't I get in 4? Suyu hated the medicine that he had to take in handfuls. It smelled so bad. And 4 is fine, but in your current state you'll probably need 3 bottles to get your fever down. If you want medicine, a drop of suspension will be enough. Huamin spoke as if he was coaxing a child. Suyu was suddenly very touched. Huamin was a kind person. No matter what kind of patient she was with, she was very professional and patient. Sure enough, even if she wasn't Professor Lu's daughter, she wasn't that talented. However, she was still the woman that Suyu loved the most. His initial feelings had not changed. Even though he had transmigrated to two different worlds, it was all the same. The name Huamin was Suyu's lifelong belief. I'll leave it to you then. I don't really understand either. Of course it's good to take medicine. The side effects are small and the effects are quick. Wait for me to get the medicine. Here's your money. Suyu picked up his wallet and was about to flip through the money. She suddenly thought of something and said with a smile, I don't have any cash. Add me on WeChat and I'll transfer the money to you. Huamin looked at her faintly and said, no need. I'll pay for it. Then he turned around and left handsomely. Suyu, Huamin guessed that it was probably something that didn't cost much. Otherwise he wouldn't have been so straightforward. However, her intentions were clear. Did she not want to add him on WeChat? Why was it so difficult? Suyu took out his phone and asked in Wei Liao and Tang Chuan's private group chat. Suyu, hey you two. Tell me, how can I get a girl to add me on WeChat? Wei Liao, oh? You weren't rejected, were you? Tang Chuan, that can't be. Which girl here doesn't know Lord Su's name? If you take the initiative to ask for his WeChat, how many lifetimes of fortune would that girl have accumulated? How could she reject you? Suyu, ahem, she rejected you. Wei Liao, I'm interested in her. I want to see what kind of woman can reject Suyu. Tang Chuan, that's right, that's right. I, Lord Su, am not an ordinary person. The name Suyu represents supreme power, money, status, and a prestigious temperament that many people don't have. Suyu, stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and think of a way. Suyu's domineering aura rose again. Wei Liao and Suyu in this parallel world were exactly the same as in that world. Therefore, Suyu really didn't have any grudges and treated them as good brothers. Chapter 4571. Suyu's incident seriously aroused Tang Chuan's gossipy nature. He was so excited that he stopped typing and started chatting through voice messages. Tang Chuan, Lord Su, let me tell you, there are many ways to get a girl's WeChat. For example, you can say, girl, my phone is out of battery. Can you lend it to me? I'll call my family and say that I miss them. Then when you call, the girl will definitely avoid you. Can't you just secretly add yourself? Suyu, Wei Liao, why don't you pretend that you're lost when you go out for a walk? Go to the place she frequents and ask her how to get back to the ward when she passes by. Then no matter what she says, you don't understand anything. Just tell her to add me on WeChat and send me your location. I'll navigate back. Suyu, is that stupid? Tang Chuan, it is stupid. Wei Liao, aren't you asking a stupid question? Suyu, fuck. You two are messing with me. The ship of friendship is gone. Suyu was so angry that he stopped chatting with them. He felt that he had two immoral brothers who would tease him from time to time. After he put down his phone, Huamin happened to come back. She was holding the medicine in her hand. This method is very simple. You just have to take the first drop out. Then if you feel that the taste is strange, you can drink some water. Suyu took the medicine from Huamin. He did not dare to touch her hand, but when he held the small medicine bottle, he could feel the warmth from Huamin's palm. Under Huamin's gaze, Suyu obediently drank the medicine and 2 mouthfuls of water. Then he lay down. Although his body was still burning up, Suyu felt very sweet and happy in his heart. He had to admit that staying in this parallel world for the rest of his life was the happiest thing. After taking the medicine, Huamin did not leave. She was probably afraid that Suyu would feel uncomfortable, so she sat down on the chair next to him. She took out her phone and connected to the hospital's wireless network. Then she turned on the video and watched the drama very seriously. While Huamin was watching the drama, Suyu was sneaking glances at her. When she looked over, Suyu pretended to play with his phone. After about 10 minutes, the room was very quiet. There was no noise at all. Huamin was wearing headphones. Suyu couldn't help but put down his phone. I say, what kind of TV show are you watching? A Descendant of the Sun, Huamin said. Suyu had never watched this drama before. As a tough guy, he basically did not watch Korean dramas. But he would occasionally take a look at Train to Busan. Suyu was a hardcore fan of Marvel, so he liked Spider-Man, Iron Man, Hulk, and Captain America. When he went to the cinema, he would only watch Marvel's hero series. He did not understand this Descendant of the Sun at all. Chapter 4572. Because she saw that Suyu's eyes were red. She thought that he really wasn't feeling well. Therefore Huamin put down her phone, stood up and walked over to Suyu. She was very close to him. Suyu suddenly felt his heart race. It was a sense of nervousness. Huamin gently lifted Suyu's eyelids and took a look. It was indeed a little red. Are there eyelashes inside? Suyu asked with a smile. No, it's probably some solidified dust or something. After speaking, Huamin blew on his eyelids seriously. Suyu felt the familiar scent of her body wash over him. He felt extremely happy. After blowing on his eyelids a few times, Huamin stood up. I'll talk to the head nurse about this ward later and ask her to get someone to clean it up and disinfect it properly. Don't worry. I'm not worried. You're going to be discharged soon, right? Huamin asked casually. I don't want to be discharged. Why? Huamin was surprised. Suyu was probably one of the weirdest patients in the hospital. Many patients became irritated after a few days and clamored to go home. However, Suyu actually didn't want to go back. What was going on? Because you're here. Huamin was stunned again when she heard this. Then her face turned slightly red. Even though she knew that Suyu was a man who was very popular with women and was a playboy, he still said it so directly to her face. Huamin was still embarrassed. When Ning Ziyuan pursued her in university, he only cared about her silently. He accompanied her to the study room and accompanied her to the cafeteria. That was why she was gradually moved. However, Ning Ziyuan would never say something so direct. Therefore, Huamin was suddenly a little uncomfortable. You're blushing? Suyu was in a good mood. Huamin put on his headphones and lowered his head to continue watching the TV series. Then she suddenly said, Do you know the consequences of flirting with a nurse? I don't know. It's best if you don't know. If you know, I'm afraid you'll be traumatized. You're trying to scare me. Do you think I grew up scared? Suyu laughed. Huamin took off one of his headphones and glanced at Suyu. Since you're so brave, there's a ward next to the morgue. Do you want to move there? Suyu was left speechless by Huamin's rebuke. However, he felt extremely happy to be rebuked by Huamin. 30 minutes. Huamin looked at his watch. When he felt that it was about time, he put his phone away. Then he touched Suyu's head and found that his fever had subsided. Then he inserted the thermometer into Suyu's body again. Let's try again. If the fever subsides, you can sleep peacefully for a while. Thank you, Mion. Suyu said it very smoothly. It didn't feel awkward or out of place at all. However, Huamin felt awkward when he heard it. All these years, other than her parents and brother, very few people called her Mion. Ning Ziyuan basically called her Huamin Jr. However, Huamin always felt that Suyu was very familiar with him, as if he had known him for a long time. According to the books, some people feel déjà vu the moment they meet. Huamin probably felt that way, although he didn't know why. However, he felt very comfortable and familiar with Suyu. Although they would argue with each other, it was all a joke. Are you stupid? What are you thinking about? Seeing that Huamin was stunned, Suyu stretched out 5 fingers and waved them in front of her. Only then did Huamin come back to his senses. He realized that he had been distracted for a moment and was still a little scared. Suyu, have we met before? Huamin asked him. Why do you ask? Because I feel like you look a little familiar. Huamin tilted his head and looked at Suyu seriously. Chapter 4573. When Suyu and Huamin looked at each other, their eyes seemed to freeze for a moment. He had 1,000 words to say, but he couldn't seem to say them. In the end, Suyu smiled. Is that how it feels? Meeting you for the first time is like meeting an old friend. Huamin actually nodded slightly. I think it's probably because the two of us were fated in our previous lives. I feel that you must have owed me a lot in your previous life, to make up for it in this life. What did I owe you? Huamin was serious. You owe me money probably. If you pay me back now, I don't mind. Huamin was speechless. You're shameless. You're a super rich man. How can you extort a nurse with a salary of 4,000 yuan a month? Do you have any morals? I have to pay back what I owe. Suyu continued to tease her. Then I'll burn gold ingots to pay you back. Huamin was also sharp-tongued. Fuck. Suyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This girl's personality hadn't changed. At this moment, Huamin thought of something and took out the thermometer from Suyu's mouth. Then he smiled slightly. Your temperature is normal, your fever is gone. That's great. Okay, after I leave, if you still feel a headache, put the thermometer in your mouth and continue to check your temperature. If you have a high fever, you'll have to take this medicine. Because if it's the viral flu, you might have a recurring fever. You have to be careful. Okay. Then I'll leave first. Don't. You've been busy so late and haven't eaten. No, I'm on a diet. What's there to lose? It's like pork ribs. No, you have to eat something with me before you leave. Do you have anything to eat here? So late. If I order takeout, it'll be delivered very late. I won't wait. Huamin got up and put on his coat. He was about to leave. It was already 9:30 p.m. It was indeed quite late. Most of the patients had already gone to bed. It's fine. Isn't there a kitchen in this VIP ward? Don't tell me you want me to cook for you. I'm exhausted. I'd rather not eat and go home to sleep. Huamin looked at Suyu and asked nervously. I'll make it for you. Give me some time. After that, Suyu got out of bed and went straight to the kitchen. Huamin looked at Suyu's back in shock as he jogged away. This guy's physical fitness is not bad. He's already so lively even though his fever has just subsided. Suyu saw that Suyu had good intentions, so he didn't leave. He sat down and continued watching the TV series. About 30 minutes later, Suyu brought out the finished dishes one by one. There was actually freshly cooked rice, and the rice was placed on an exquisite plate. Next to it was a broccoli and a piece of abalone. This abalone with rice. Don't worry. The abalone is fresh. My mom sent someone to deliver it this morning. It's been in the fridge. Then, before Huamin could say anything, Suyu rushed into the kitchen. He brought out spicy codfish and a plate of steamed crabs. Then there was mustard fungus and a stir-fried ham with cucumber slices. There were 4 dishes and 2 servings of rice with abalone. This wasn't a casual meal. The cost of this meal was extremely high. Suyu's food had to be fresh every day, so the Su family would send someone to deliver ingredients every morning. The hairy crabs were very big. Huamin once saw them on an online store. A crab of this size cost 3,000 yuan. Suyu steamed 4 of them at once. That was 12,000 yuan. A dish cost more than 10,000 yuan. He wasn't eating food, he was eating money. You're making too much of a fuss, Huamin said. Let's eat. I'm starving. After speaking, Suyu immediately picked up a hairy crab and placed it in front of Huamin. How did you know I love crabs? You love all kinds of seafood, right? Suyu asked with a smile. How did you know? Huamin looked at him warily. Chapter 45-74. I'm confused. Then Suyu revealed a harmless smile. Huamian was stunned by what she saw. She even felt that Suyu was in a good mood every time he was with her. As for the specific reason, she didn't know why. Could it be that this playboy was just trying to flirt with her? Huamin was confused. And completely confused. She slowly ate with Suyu. Suyu didn't eat much himself. He kept putting food in Huamin's bowl. Huamin had been busy for half the night and was indeed hungry. Therefore he didn't pretend and just ate as much as he wanted. He ate a lot of prawns and crabs and felt that he hadn't eaten so much in a long time. Due to the drastic changes in the seasons in the north, seafood was often extremely expensive. Other than during the New Year, the family basically didn't buy it. Her mother, Yang Meirong, was very good at housekeeping. She would try her best to cook some home-cooked dishes for her and Jixin. However, the seafood he ate today was different from usual. She heard that Suyu's food was all shipped by air, and the shipping fee was shockingly high. However, Lady Su didn't even frown. It was obvious how much Lady Su loved her son. What are you thinking about? Suyu asked her. I'm thinking, your mother is so good to you. Of course, my mother has doted on me since I was young. Suyu was proud. Are you also a scary mommy's boy? Huamin looked at him seriously. Suyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Beauty Hu, please listen carefully. Although my mother is good to me, it's completely a normal mother's concern for her child. What are you thinking? A mommy's boy? If I were a mommy's boy, wouldn't my mother be in charge of the company and I'm in charge of eating, drinking and playing? But the truth is, my mother is just a housewife. She doesn't participate in any of our companies. She's only responsible for our daily lives. She's a very virtuous woman and she wouldn't raise me into a mommy's boy. I joined the army when I was a teenager and I was even in the special forces. Do you think I'm a mommy's boy? Hwamin only asked one question but Suyu was about to jump. Finally she smiled. What are you smiling about? You don't believe me? Oh, I'm just laughing. Why are you explaining to us so seriously? We're not friends. Hwamin's simple words, but they pierced Su's heart. In the other world, Mion seemed to have said the same thing, but Suyu only felt a stabbing pain in his heart and it was extremely uncomfortable. Now that the same feeling struck him again, Suyu wasn't even in the mood to eat. He silently put down his chopsticks. Hwamin noticed his abnormality and quickly asked, "What's wrong? Why did you say something so hurtful?" Suyu looked at her. Hwamin, I thought we knew each other at least as friends. I didn't think, you didn't treat me as a friend. I feel like a fool who thinks too highly of himself. Seeing Suyu's lonely expression, Hwamin couldn't bear to see him like this. No, Suyu, don't misunderstand, that's not what I meant, Hwamin quickly explained. Then what did you mean? What I meant was, your family background and status are so prominent, your friends are all rich and powerful. How can I be your friend? Hwamin lowered her voice, feeling guilty. If I can make you rich, then you can be my friend, right? Suyu suddenly had an idea. How? Hwamin looked at Suyu with chopsticks in her mouth. Marry me and you'll be the daughter-in-law of the Su family. Fuck you, you're not talking seriously. Hwamin lowered her head and ignored Suyu, quietly eating her seafood. Chapter 4575. I'm telling the truth. Suyu desperately wanted to express her feelings. What are you talking about? You just had a fever. Sleep early. I'm leaving. Hwamin stopped eating and got up to put on his clothes. You're leaving so soon? What else can I do? Do I have to stay here? Then I have to tell them to add an extra bed. Otherwise, I won't be able to sleep in a single bed. Suyu, don't think that I won't beat you up just because you're sick. Do you understand? Hwamin raised her fist and threatened him. You're welcome to beat me up, but I put a lot of money into my insurance company. If you get hurt anywhere, you'll have to pay hundreds of millions in compensation. Think about it, you can sell your house, your land, and your furniture. Then your family of 4 will work for our company for the rest of your life and see if you can pay it back. If you can't, you can let your kids pay it back. I don't mind waiting for a long time. Damn it. You're Huang Shuren. You're a black-hearted Zhou, but I have a good idea. If you marry me, you'll be my wife and your kids will be my kids. This way we'll call it even. After you marry me, you can beat me up however you want. I won't say a word. Suyu took the opportunity to confess again. However, in Hwamion's eyes, her confession was nothing more than flirting. After all, she had only known Suyu for a few days. Okay, you're good at talking. I'm tired. I'm going to go home and sleep. I have a morning meeting tomorrow. Okay, I'll ask my assistant to drive you home. No, I'll rent a car and leave. Hwamin waved her hand. Oh, it's too late. It's not safe. Just listen to me. If I don't feel safe, I'll drive you home myself. Don't. Just lie down. Your leg is injured. Then I'll ask my assistant to drive you home? Suyu asked her. Unable to dissuade Suyu, Hwamin had to get in Anne's car. And drove a black Lamborghini 6th Element. It was said that this car was Suyu's favorite. Those female celebrities, including Zhao Qingya, who had been in the limelight a while ago, were not qualified. Because of Suyu's eccentricity, this was also the first time the 6th elemental sat on a woman. If it weren't for the fact that Suyu's legs were really inconvenient, he would have driven them himself. How could it be Xiao An's turn? Hwamin sat in the front passenger seat and fastened his seatbelt. After An got into the car, he didn't start the engine. Instead, he said to Hwamin, Miss Hua, this money is for you. What money? Hwamin was slightly startled. The 5,000 yuan overtime pay that I promised you. Forget it, I really didn't come for the 5,000 yuan. If I wasn't in the right mood, I wouldn't have come even if you gave me 50,000 yuan. Your boss might be the most despicable and immoral person, but I can tell that he doesn't have any bad intentions. His high fever is real and it's not a big deal for me. I don't want this money. That won't do, Miss Hua. If you don't accept this money, I won't be able to explain it to my boss. And looked troubled. It's okay, just accept it. I won't tell Suyu. Just take it that I've accepted it. Hurry up and drive, okay? I'm really sleepy. Okay. and didn't know what to do, but he still didn't give her the money. Previously he thought that Huamin was a realistic woman who would work as long as she was paid. She wasn't a good person. However, from the looks of it, she was a very reliable person and wasn't greedy for money. And subconsciously felt a sense of respect for her. When Suyu returned from driving Huamin, he threw 5,000 yuan in cash at his boss's bedside. What do you mean, Master? Are you hiring me to be your assistant? Suyu teased him on purpose. No, boss, it's the 5,000 yuan that Miss Hua confiscated. Mian didn't confiscate it? What? Suyu was stunned. Chapter 4576. Shaoan nodded, then explained the entire situation to Lin Yun. If it was any other assistant, he might not have said anything. After all, Huamin wouldn't say anything either. Suyu didn't know where the 5,000 yuan went, but An had been with Suyu for several years. They were very close. Although they were master and servant on the surface, they were actually brothers. After An said this, Suyu's face turned cold. Boss, don't be angry. I'll stuff it in Miss Hua's pocket tomorrow. No, I just think you're very stupid. So stupid that it's scary. And, ? Why did you have to give her cash? Couldn't you have forwarded it on WeChat and added her WeChat? Could I still use your WeChat to chat with her? And, do you remember her address? And shook his head. I really want to slap you to death. Idiot. Suyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Although An was reliable, he wasn't very smart. Therefore he would only do his job well and not think about anything else. And was so scared that he didn't dare to say anything. You can keep the 5,000 yuan. I already have 5,000 yuan, boss. I'll give you the 5,000 yuan too. Mian doesn't care about it anyway. You can be willful when you're rich. By the way, have you been playing Shake Shake recently? Yeah, how did you know? And looked at Suyu in confusion. Boss, you didn't peek at my phone, did you? This is my privacy. Do I still have human rights? Shaoan also knew that he was anxious. Am I such a tasteless person? Look at your WeChat moments. What's all of them? And silently took out his phone and opened his WeChat moments. They were all forwarded things. Some were about health, some were news, and even more ruthlessly, he didn't forward things that weren't from China. Most of them were domestic disputes about the South China Sea and the Diaoyu Islands. And was also from the army, so it was good to be a patriotic person. However, these were all his WeChat moments. It was indeed a little monotonous. After hearing Suyu's words, An felt guilty and didn't dare to say anything. Let me tell you, don't pay attention to Shake Shake or the people nearby on WeChat. Alright. If I find out that you're disobedient, you can go home. Don't be my assistant here, Suyu said seriously. That's so serious. I don't think so. I'm in my 20s and I want to find a girlfriend too. I don't want to be a single dog for the rest of my life. The boss only needs to set fire to himself and forbid the common people from lighting candles. How overbearing. Fuck, that's not the case at all, okay? I'm doing this for your own good. Just listen to me. All right. Even though he was unwilling, he still listened to what Lin Feng said. In fact, Suyu didn't reject the idea of using WeChat to chat with the people nearby. After all, there were some good ones. But in the other world, Shaoan had suffered such a loss. He had been cheated out of a lot of things by an innocent-looking girl. Perhaps that girl had figured out his background and knew that he was Suyu's assistant. He kept flirting with him. Later they even talked about marriage, but she still ran away and took away a lot of Anne's hard-earned money. And was really willing to spend money on his girlfriend. Moreover, Suyu didn't mistreat him. Anne's income was already more than 20,000 yuan. In a city like the north, 20,000 yuan a month was already very impressive. Moreover, Suyu would buy him clothes and shoes from time to time and even give him pocket money. Therefore, An knew that his boss was a loyal person. Suyu glanced at An and knew that he wasn't convinced. Then he said, leave your wife to me. I'll definitely find you a good wife. When you get married, I'll pay for the house, car, and banquet. Chapter 4577. Thank you, boss. An was a little excited. Although Suyu had always treated him well, there was no reason for him to take care of the entire banquet. Today's words are so blatant. Suyu's tone was still so firm, but when he heard his boss say that, his heart warmed. Oh, it's getting late. You can go next door and sleep. I need to rest too. Hey, boss. You can rest first. And left the ward. Before he left, he didn't forget to give the boss a peach. Although he didn't peel it clearly, he was reminding Suyu to eat some fruit out of goodwill. Suyu didn't like sweet things, but he wanted to eat it today. It hadn't been long since he transmigrated, but his relationship with Mion had developed so quickly. He was confident that if the records were true, he was confident that he could open up Huamin's heart. After all, everyone's heart was made of flesh and no one had a heart of stone. At this thought, Suyu limped down the stairs. He took the peach to peel it. When he came back, he lay on the bed and ate the peach happily. As he ate, he actually felt blissful. He felt that the peach was very delicious. After eating a peach, he played with his phone for a while. Suyu felt tired. Then he leaned against the headboard and fell asleep unknowingly. In a daze, he seemed to have seen Master Wu. Master Wu was still dressed in a green robe, sitting cross-legged in a beautiful place. Suyu even felt like he could smell the fresh air. "You're here." Master Wu smiled. "It's so good to see you again." Master Wu smiled. "Don't smile. Really. I feel very close to you when I see you. This isn't a dream. I'm talking to you in a dream. When we wake up, we'll both remember the contents of the dream." "Master, you're so powerful that you can travel through 2 worlds to find me?" Suyu was surprised. "The red string on your hand helped me a lot. I made it myself. How could I not find it?" Suyu subconsciously looked at the red string on his wrist. Ever since he came back, he had been looking at it like a precious treasure, afraid that someone would touch it. "Little donkey, how have you been recently?" "Very good. I've never felt so relaxed in my life. I'm happy." Suyu grinned. It was obvious that he was really, really happy. "Then, do you have plans to go back?" "Ah? Go back?" Master Wu's words stunned Suyu. He was not prepared for this. "Although I can't do it now, I've already toured the country. I heard that there's an expert on Mount Jiuhua. I want to give it a try. I think there's a great chance. Didn't my physical body get cremated? How am I supposed to go back?" "You can reincarnate and return to the Su family." Forget it, forget it. My mother is already so old and her health isn't very good. I don't want to torture her like that." "Then I'll find you a new host, one who looks and is similar to you." No, that wouldn't be me, Suyu." "Don't find excuses. I feel like you don't want to go back." With just a few words, Master Wu saw through Suyu's thoughts. Suyu chuckled. "Master, to be honest, I'm doing very well in this parallel world. I hope I can stay here for the rest of my life. I don't want to go back. Even if my physical body is still here, I don't want to go back. I don't want to be sandwiched between Mion and Qin Chu. Their family is already very happy. By the way, Mion's child is born, right?" "Yes, it's a brat called Qin Yao. It has the same pronunciation as mine." "Oh, what a good name. This child is lucky." "Yes, so what about you? Do you have any other wishes?" "I will try my best to help you." Master Wu felt very guilty. Although he had only known Suyu for a short time, he still had a deep relationship with him, especially after seeing what Suyu had done for everyone. "Master, I really do have an unfulfilled wish." Suyu approached Master Wu and said word by word. Chapter 4578. "Tell me, kid. As long as I can do it, I'll do my best to help you." Master Wu didn't want to cry during such a precious meeting with Suyu in his dream, so he held back his tears. Suyu hesitated for a long time before saying slightly, "Master, speak. Can you help me erase everyone's memories of me?" Suyu's voice was very soft. However, Master Wu still heard him clearly. "You." Master Wu didn't expect Suyu to do this. "I know that after I leave, my family and friends will be in pain. My grandfather is already so old and he still has to send his grandson off. My mother's health isn't good, and if she continues to be depressed, I'm afraid she won't be able to hold on for long. Although my father doesn't say it and is very strict, he is full of love for me. Mion might not be able to get over it. When the time comes, she will have a grudge against Qin Chu, which will be even worse. She never loved me to begin with. Don't make it seem like my death will be passed down for eternity. That's not my original intention. So you want to erase everyone's memories of you?" Master Wu looked at Suyu. "Yes. Do you know that if you erase these memories, then you'll never exist in that world? No one will remember you, including your 2 most loved ones, Pudding and Little Bean. I know it's better to forget than to continue to suffer. I'm really happy in this world. I can see my brothers, my family, and the girl I love. I don't want anything else, but I can't harm everyone. Do you have to be so ruthless to yourself? Master Wu felt that he had never seen someone as ruthless to himself as Su Yu. Everyone else asked their family to remember them, afraid that they would be forgotten. Su Yu's request for everyone to forget about him would reduce a lot of pain. This idea was indeed shocking. Master, please help me, or rather let everyone be free. After Su Yu finished speaking, he knelt down and kowtowed 3 times to Master Wu. Master Wu's eyes were red. Who said that the sons of rich families were immoral? Who said that the sons of rich families were not filial? Su Yu, this kid had done a series of things. He had already reached a height that many so-called good people would never be able to reach in their lifetime. Get up. What are you doing? Master, I actually feel bad for my grandpa and Mion. I heard that it was my grandpa who ordered the euthanasia. His heart must have been in so much pain. Ever since I was a kid, my grandpa has always doted on me. My grandpa is a righteous man, but he only dotes on me. I heard that Mion gave me the injection herself. She must have been devastated. She must have felt guilty and sorry for me. Yes, her wedding with Qin Chu has been postponed indefinitely. I can see that Huamin is very sad. On the anniversary of your death, she even carried the little guy to pay respects to you. That's why I said that I don't want everyone to work so hard for me. I'm already someone who doesn't exist in that world. I don't want to leave in the end and still feel uneasy dragging them down. Then do you really have the heart to let everyone forget about you? Yes, as long as they're happy, so what if they forget about me? Su Yu smiled, but it was obvious that there was a hint of bitterness in his smile. So master, please. You're an expert, you must have a way. There is a way, but they definitely won't be willing. Master Wu sighed. Then don't let them know. Maybe when they wake up one morning they won't remember Su Yu anymore. Okay, but I have a condition. Master Wu looked at Su Yu and emphasized his words. Chapter 45-79. Go ahead, Master. Get up first, I'll talk. Master Wu really couldn't bear to see this guy kneel in front of him like an obedient child. Actually, Su Yu was the most disobedient disciple. He didn't let him enter the dream a second time, but he still went. He knew that he would die, but he still went. Everyone was back, but he was the only one who stayed in that lonesome place for so long. In the end, it was the Su family's old master who gave the order. Once they opened their mouths, they would die. He gave Su Yu a way out. Hearing Master Wu's words, Su Yu stood up slightly. I only have one request. I don't want to forget you. If I forget, you'll disappear from that world completely. Master Wu's words touched Su Yu and made him want to cry. Master, fine, don't cry. I'm not here to see you whine. I'll ask you one last time, are you sure you're not going back to that world? Yes, I'm not going back. I want to stay here. Su Yu turned around resolutely. He firmly believed that it might not be a good thing for him to go back. If he went back, he would be sandwiched between Qin Chu and Huamin, making things difficult for the couple. Now that he could have Mion all to himself here, why would he go back? He had his family and buddies here, so there was no difference. Most importantly, Han Yueyao wasn't the woman Su Yu liked. Even if the whole world thought that they were compatible, what could he do if he didn't love her? Love was so magical. Su Yu had lived for others his entire life. When he was young, for the glory of his family, he went to the special forces in his teens and suffered a lot. When he grew up, he didn't want to be a second-generation heir and rely on his parents, so he founded his own company and was self-sufficient. Then he met Huamin and loved him for many years. But in the end he didn't get a response from Huamin. They were still friends. As for Han Yueyao, she was just as tragic as him, falling in love with someone she shouldn't have. Fortunately, Han Yueyao was still young. Without him, she would have to marry someone in the future. Su Yu had been giving selflessly all his life. Now he was tired. He wanted to live for himself. He wanted everyone to give him a way out. He didn't want to go back and be a bachelor for the rest of his life, nor did he want to marry a woman he didn't love. Life shouldn't be like this. It wasn't easy for her to leave that heart-wrenching world and start a new life. I really don't want to go back Master, this time. I want to be a selfish person. I want to live for myself, he said. Master Wu nodded. Then I'll ask you one last question. Are you sure you don't want anyone to remember you? Yes, I don't want them to feel the pain of losing me. To me, I've already been reborn in this parallel world. I don't have any conflicts with that world. Chin-Chu and Mion are doing well in that world and they have 3 children. Old Wei and Old Tang have their own families as well. I'm just sorry for my family. So, Master, please help them forget about me. Please. Okay, I promise you, Master Wu said firmly. Thank you, Master. Suyu couldn't help but kowtow 3 more times. I won't come back to see you in your dreams anymore. If you break this connection, you won't be able to contact that world anymore. I know. Suyu nodded. Take care of yourself in the future. You too, Master. Master Wu wanted to say something, but his figure had already turned into specks of starlight. Suyu suddenly woke up from his dream. He couldn't describe how he felt. He looked at his phone. It was 1 in the morning. There are so many medical staff coming and going. Can you see clearly? And found it too strange. That's why I sent someone to deliver a pair of military binoculars. Suyu was full of confidence, and was so angry that he almost laughed. Who would use military binoculars to look at a girl? What a waste of this equipment. Cost tens of thousands and it was specially used by the military. Now the boss was like a silly dog holding a pair of binoculars. All he knew was that he was looking at the girl he loved. Those who didn't know better would think that he was peeping at the old auntie taking a shower. Boss, let's eat breakfast first. We'll look later. Boss, you have to be good, and coaxed the boss. Chapter 4581. Leave it there first. I'm not hungry so I won't eat it yet. Suyu was determined to see Huamin. He stood by the window more than an hour in advance. Boss, it won't taste good if it gets cold. It's okay, I'm not afraid of the cold. And, by the way, have you packed the food I asked you to pack? Yes. After their morning meeting you can give it to Mion. And nodded. At this moment, Suyu saw Huamin coming to work in casual clothes. Perhaps it was because of the warm weather she was only wearing a white short-sleeved shirt, a pair of jeans and flat shoes. The bag she was carrying wasn't a big brand, but it was in a good style. It wasn't ostentatious but it was elegant. Huamin had a simple ponytail today and walked in with her colleagues. They were chatting and laughing. Suyu watched them attentively, afraid that he would miss a shot. The military binoculars were extremely powerful. After zooming in he could even see the tiny mole on Huamin's face. Suyu didn't put down the binoculars until Huamin walked into the building. Then he went into the bathroom to wash his hands before coming out to eat. His appetite had been inexplicably good these few days. The hot buns, soup and pickled vegetables that he bought were all delicious. It was made at a breakfast restaurant that Suyu often went to. After the morning meeting, Huamin returned to the duty station. It was the day shift today. And walked over with the packed breakfast in his hand. Miss Hua. Huamin saw and nodded politely. Oh. My boss asked me to give this to you. Please enjoy. With that, and put down the things and ran away. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to report back if Miss Hua rejected him. Hey. Huamin wanted to say something but it was too late. She opened the food box and saw crystal shrimp dumplings, a box of fresh dumplings, 2 hot sesame seed cakes, some side dishes and a bowl of soup. This was an incomparably luxurious breakfast. The nurse next to him stole a glance. Isn't this the most famous breakfast restaurant? It's very expensive. The last time I went to eat with my boyfriend, it wasn't that expensive. It only cost more than 300 yuan. Yours should cost more than 500 yuan at least. Huamin rubbed his forehead awkwardly. Mion, wasn't that young Master Su's driver? Young Master Su gave that to you, right? Oh my god. Young Master Su likes you? Huamin didn't know what to do with his colleague's shock. Wasn't Suyu being a little overzealous towards her? When the nurse said that, a few people who were chatting nearby also heard it and ran over. They surrounded Huamin and breakfast. Sister Mion, what's going on? I don't want her to be the scapegoat for no reason. After all, I'm the cause of this. And handed over the peeled apple and was even more confused. Boss, do you really like Miss Hua? I don't, Siyu answered straightforwardly. Then you're treating her like Sunday. Are you playing with her? And felt that his boss had gone overboard this time. Miss Hu was really a good person. Unexpectedly, Siyu said something that shocked him again. She came to check on Suyu on time, gave him an injection, gave him medicine and reminded him to go for regular checkups. Another 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Tonight, Huamin is on the night shift. At 8 o'clock in the evening she came to check the wards. Suyu had already laid down to rest early, obediently lying in the ward. Do you have any activities today? Yes, I did. I went for a walk in the garden in the morning and at noon. I think my leg is fine now. Huamin nodded. Although a ligament injury is not a small matter, you have to be careful in the future. Don't do strenuous exercise. What do you mean by strenuous exercise? Siyu asked her on purpose. Huamin understood immediately. She coughed lightly and said, Ahem. I'm talking about running, skipping rope, playing basketball. You can't do those. It takes 100 days to recover from a ligament injury. You have to take good care of yourself. Seems like I misunderstood. I would have to hold it in for a long time, Siyu said naturally. Suyu was so direct that Huamin blushed even more. Your face is so red. Are you wearing too much? Suyu continued to show concern. There were some differences between this world and the other one. In that world, Ning Ziyuan married Wu Xiaoxue and had a daughter. Later he emigrated abroad and lived a peaceful life. However, in this world he was with a nurse named He-Man. It was also because of this that Huamin was transferred from the first hospital to Southside. It was said that she was already discussing marriage with Huamin. Later he cheated on the nurse and got her pregnant. The nurse, He-Man, refused to abort the child and the whole city knew about it. Huamin broke up with him and slapped that guy, cutting off all ties with him. Speaking of which, Huamin was quite pitiful to be betrayed by such a scumbag. I just want to say that guy is blind. But I thank him. Suyu smiled mysteriously. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.